Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come in, come in, come in. So, guys, this is a review for Insecure Season 5, Episode 9, out okay. And baby, this episode should have been happening, y'all, a couple of episodes back, okay? They played us here. All right? You could have left out, like, I don't know, number 4, number 5, and had this deal, all right? We only got one damn episode left. But having said that, let's go ahead and get into it. So it starts out with with Issa and Nathan looking at this place, and the guy's telling them the floors was just done. You know, he's saying, do we really need 2 bedrooms? She said, yeah, one could be an office, it could be a guest room, it could be another room for, us to cool off when we need it. And I agree with that. I definitely think there should always be that separate room that you could go into, okay? Maybe even a living room or whatever, but she's smart there. And then she was like, oh, it's a little mini bathroom. You could go ahead and do what you need to do in there. She was like, you know how y'all men are. He was like, nah, all men ain't the same. I don't know what guys you used to dealing with. And she like, okay, Nathan, I just know most of them been on their mess, okay? And so they really liking the vibe, and they deciding like, okay, yeah, we want this. And I'm like, oh, okay, because I just figured when he talked about moving in together that he meant him moving into Issa place. I didn't think it meant them looking for a whole new place together. So I'm like, that's interesting, but I still, my opinion from last week still stands where I think they should have maybe held off on the whole moving in together discussion. But after they finally say, like, yeah, we think we gonna take it, the damn man gonna talk about, oh, well, we had closed on it 5 minutes ago, but I ain't want to say nothing because y'all look so happy. I'm like, really? And then we get Molly at her job or whatever. And Torian comes walking out, and at first the ladies are like, why you was in there so long? Is something acting up with your cloud again? And then he's like, no, and they all just standing there in this awkward silence looking at each other. And, at first Molly's joking with them too, like, oh yeah, it probably did. So then one of the ladies was like, well, what? Did they make you partner or something? And then he's still standing there looking for a minute. And then Molly's like, wait, they did? And she was like, oh, congratulations, and giving him a hug or whatever. And, then when she realized that she's standing there hugging him, and I guess she don't want nobody to think there's something going on with them two, she basically was like, yo, ladies, y'all need to get in on this too. Group hug, and then they all hug. And then Torian and her both, like, looking at each other awkward. And then they both walk away at the same time. So one co-worker says to the other co-worker, they fucking, right? I was like, yo, that cracked me up. And the other one was like, yeah, basically, it's obvious at this point. And so, we then get Lawrence. He looks like he's talking to his friend about apartments too, and how hard it is to find one and be settled down. And he was like, I'm trying to do my thing and see about buying a house. And he was like, there's a condo on a Chesapeake or something. And he was like, look, if I moved in, everything I'm looking for, and I don't want to, I'm not going to get everything I'm looking for, and I don't want to settle. And he was like, so, what's your gift to, Derek and Tiffany? And he was like, well, actually, I don't think I'm going. He like, well, why not? Why wouldn't you go? That's your damn friend. Oh, well, because of Issa. He was like, oh, girl. I'm like, really, Lawrence? So so his friend is like, oh, the one that you let go that you didn't fight for. And he was like, what you mean by that? And he was like, you know how you are. You know what I'm saying? He was like, well, why would I be fighting if she don't want me? I can't force her to be with me. And then he's like, come on, you remember Leah? He was like, all the stuff I did to get back with her. He was like, nothing would have stopped me from getting back with her, And then he's like, so anyway, where's the food? Nigga, I'm in the mood for quiche. He basically changing the subject. Like, you want him, you want kosher. And so Lawrence is now sitting here thinking about what he said to him, of course. And so we then get Issa and Nathan showing up for Derek and Tiffany's, farewell party or whatever. Since they moving, they having a party. When they walk in, they see the slide of different pictures. Nathan is asking her how many times she had braces. She's like 2, but the first time didn't count. They showing all the different foods that they have there, all the different hors d'oeuvres. Everybody standing around, lady making the drinks, And so he was like, wow, this is a real nice place and a nice setup that they got. And they come and they singing hi to everybody. And then Molly ends up telling Tiffany about the fact that they looking at a place together or whatever. And she was like, well, no, how they came upon that is because Derek was saying, do you need a toaster? I guess a lot of people bought them a toasters for the new place where they're going to move from, so they have an extra. And then first Nathan was like, nah, we good. And then Issa was like, hold on, wait a minute, maybe we could use that. And, that's how she ended up telling Tiffany and Kelly and them, like, yeah, well, we actually looking for a place together. We gonna consolidate. And she was like, wait a minute, together? She was like, oh wow, congratulations. So then, Nathan gets a call and he tells her to excuse me for a minute. And he was like, get me a drink. And she was like, yeah. And so she was like, oh, that's so exciting with you getting an apartment, but I won't get to see the apartment because I'll be in Denver. But then she hurry up and be like, oh yeah, I want to be in Denver or whatever. So Derek won't be looking at her funny. Then we have Molly walking in with Torian and they like, oh, wait a minute, she came with a date, and Issa's like, oh, they looking cute. So of course, they introduced them, and at first they asking Torian, is that a gift for them? And then he's like, no, it's trash. And they was like, so you came with trash? Like, we confused. So he pulls Molly to the side and he's telling her, like, well, really, this is edibles, but I don't think this is that type of party. I'm seeing mad kids. So now I feel bad that I brought this. So she was like, well, give me one. We could eat it or whatever the case may be. And then he's like, okay. In the meantime, Nathan had came back and told Issa that the guy, Eric, basically had lost the keys. And she was like, damn, he be losing those keys every time you turn around. And he was like, yeah, so if you don't mind, I had gave him this address and he's gonna come here and pick them up from me or whatever the case may be. So she was like, okay, cool. So right behind them, Lawrence and Condola come walking in. Of course they had to end up showing up too. And like I said, I feel like we been needed this. It was like, I didn't really understand how some of them wasn't at the party when it was the baby birthday party for Tiffany and Derek's daughter, but yet Lawrence and Condola was there. So this is the first time that everybody is up in there, okay? So I was like, okay, cool. So when Molly and Torian take their little edibles or whatever, she was like mellow at first. They ain't really feeling nothing kicking in. And, we got Condola and Lawrence there. And they like, oh, yeah, you know how he loves this. And she was like, I need you to hold him for a minute because I'm going to run to the bathroom. And I got to, go pee or whatever the case may be. Mommy kidneys is bothering her. And so he takes him and he's like stuck looking at Issa. He sees Nathan coming up behind Issa. And you can see like a little jealousy look in his eyes too. And then Condola peeps him looking. And then that's when she had just gave him the baby and was saying she had to go to the bathroom. In the meantime, Nathan has came back. And this guy was asking them if they wanted like some cheese macaroni balls or something like that. And then he's asking, Nathan takes one and he's like, oh, Issa, you want one? And she bites into it and is like, oh, shit, because the guy was trying to tell her, like, careful, it's hot. And she drops it. And then Nathan starts blowing one for her. She basically apologized. And she also kind of got stuck when she was biting it because she had looked up and seen, Lawrence. And so then Nathan looks over and he's like, that's him. And then she's like, yeah, that's him. He was like, oh, so he moved back so he could be closer to the girl and the baby. And she was like, yeah, I guess so. I think so. She was like, he's been back for a while. And so Nathan is like, oh, okay. And, of course, he looking now, whatever, because it's like, wait a minute, her ex-man is here. I wasn't really expecting him to be here. So then Issa's like, you want to get another drink? And he's like, yeah. And he they go ahead to walk to get another drink. And you just kind of have everybody mingling amongst themselves and, drinking and laughing or whatever in the background. Basically, Tiffany introduces, Issa's brother to some guy named Rolando, like, have you met Rolando yet? And he like, no, let me make my way over there. So then Tiffany and her husband get up to get a, give her a toast, and they like clinking the glasses, and Molly must be feeling the damn edible now, because she talking about, oh, thank God, I thought that was in my head. Everybody else is hearing that too. So they all walk over to hear them, and Tiffany is basically just giving shout outs. Of course, she calls out Kelly first because they the closest, and she like, I know you would kill for me, you would die for me. And then Kelly was like, yeah, I would kill for you too. She was like, and Derek too. Well, I would kill Derek. So they all start laughing. And then, he basically shouts out one of the friends. It's like they each taking a turn saying something and saying how they'll miss them and stuff like that. And, then Tiffany comes to Issa like, I appreciate having you here, something like that. And Issa was like, okay, I think that's a thank you, And, Derek is saying to them, my crew, I wish it was another name, but, and it is what it is. That's the name. And I'm going to miss us neglecting our kids together. And they laughing. And then one of the other guys is like, oh, do me. And so the next thing you know, Tiffany is like, oh, and Dro. And Dro's walking in the back. And I'm like, really? Y'all could get Dro behind there, but y'all couldn't get Daniel there trifling, okay? So Molly, of course, is like, Dro, her eyes get real big because that's the last person that she's expecting to see there. And so then we kind of have, once they're finished doing the toast, Tiffany coming over to the girls and wanting that girl time with the girls by herself or whatever the case may be. And then all the guys are sitting together. And you figure Nathan is the odd man out because he just came there with Issa. Well, Torian is too, but being as though Nathan and Lawrence both, Lawrence used to talk to Lisa and Nathan is the new man, it's more so awkward for him. Everybody else is kind of a clique that they all was already hanging out. And some kind of way they talking about barbecue, but then it start getting personal where they saying there's some good LA, barbecue places in LA that got good barbecue. And Nathan is like, yeah, it's all right, but it ain't all of that. And they was like, well, where the hell you come from? And he's like, Texas. He's like, oh, no wonder. Yeah, they do be having some good barbecue there. And a couple of them is agreeing with him or whatever. And then a couple of the other ones is like, but, you got to try some of the other ones here, too. I'm sure you haven't had everything. And Torian is just looking lost at one point. But then he was like, this is starting to get a little awkward. Like, even he picks up on it or whatever. And then it seems like Lawrence is trying to throw little shots at Nathan here and there. Like, oh, but it is this and it is that. And I guess if you ain't from around here, then, you don't know and you think you know. And it had to be a reason why you left from that place. If they stuff was supposed to be so good, then you would have stayed there. Like, he's just, being extra with it or whatever the case may be. And so, of course, that was getting awkward or whatever. And Nathan was like coming right back hard with attitude. And I'm like, really, y'all over barbecue? Like, let's get down to what this really is. Because y'all know damn well y'all ain't upset over no damn barbecue. And Torian was saying, why is this getting so tense? And then Issa's brother and his new little friend Rolando is sitting there smiling and looking like, drinking a little drink. Okay, we getting this tea right now. It's on up in here, And then Nathan mentions how him and Issa gonna be getting an apartment together. And Issa brother's like, okay. So, I thought that was interesting and cute, whatever, funny. And so then they just saying they still always going to be in touch. They're going to always be friends and things of that nature. So we get back to Tiffany and Issa and all of them in the kitchen having their little girls talk. And she's like, even though I'm leaving now, I'm actually going to be right back. Me and Derek talked about it and we're going to come back for Molly's birthday. And then they all like, yay, yes. So they was like, you know what? Yeah, at the minimum that we should at least be able to do that. Spend each other's birthdays together. Your birthday's not too long after Molly, so we could celebrate, your birthday too. Issa basically says that to Tiffany. And then they like, yes, we all gonna, definitely be down for that. So at this point, Molly behind is being so extra. She's laughing so damn hard at everything. They like, well, what the hell are you laughing at? What's going on? Why is she laughing like that? Molly is high as the damn sky. Okay, you hear me? And they don't know she ate the edibles. So, excuse me, finally, Molly was saying anything could happen in 2 years. Somebody could get married, they could have a baby, they could get another job. She's just going on and on and on. And then Issa saying Molly, and she's like, I'm sorry. And, she's still laughing or whatever. And so Kelly turns around and slaps the mess out of her because she wouldn't stop laughing. And she was like, why the hell did you slap me? And then they like, what the hell is going on with you? And she was like, okay, I ate an edible. And then Kelly was like, listen, you can't be doing shit like that without me. Next time you going to get high, give me some too. So in the midst of them, talking about all of this, Condola comes in the kitchen talking about she wanted to get a bottle for the baby and she's sorry for interrupting them or whatever. And of course, Issa's mad awkward and she's talking about, oh, it's no problem. She's like, oh, he's so cute and y'all doing such a good job. She was like, oh, not that I need to be, making a comment on it or whatever, but I'm happy for y'all. Congratulations. And he looked cute. And then Condola says she knew some guy. I forgot who exactly the guy was. But Issa was like, oh, from, whatever section. And she was like, yeah, he got thick eyebrows. Like, Issa can't help her. So she always got to be awkward somewhere amongst it. But then, Condola's basically like, okay, I'm going to go back out here and feed the baby or whatever the case may be and goes about her business. And Molly basically was like, awkward. And so when Molly's leaving out from the kitchen, she bumps into Dro. He basically like, oh, I got a divorce. And she was like, yeah, I heard. He was like, my mother and her big mouth. He said, well, I wanted to be the one to tell you. We both had stuff that we did and that we was going through or whatever the case may be. And we couldn't work it out. He was like, at the end of the day, me and you used to be close. So I really wanted you to hear it from me. And, he was like, but I'm happy. Things is good. Shit happens. And so she was like, oh, okay. She was like, yeah, I see you happy. She seems like a nice young lady talking about the date that, he brung. And then he goes, yeah, that guy you seem like, you with seems okay. And she was like, oh, who, him? When he turns around, Torian is standing right behind him. And then she literally goes, oh, Torian Dro Torian. Well, Torian, he was in an open relationship with his wife, and me and him kind of messed around before, but now we just bumping back into each other, and it's all good. Understand? And he was like, understood. And Dro's looking at both of them like they crazy, because he just like, okay. And then he was like, yeah, like, I'm going to leave y'all two alone. So then she tells Torian, like, was that too much or whatever? I mean, I just wanted to get it out there and be honest with you. And he was like, hey, I used to sell Adderall to the kids in my class. So they both just spilling the beans while they high. And she was like, oh, I have to hear more about that story one day. So then, when Issa comes back to Nathan, he got a different demeanor, different attitude now after being over there with Lawrence and the boys. And then he gets, a call from his friend saying to come on and pick up, drop him the keys. So he tells her he going to be back, and he goes to walk outside to meet the friend. And when he gets out there, he gives the keys to the friend. And then he's asking, is Molly in there? He said, yeah, she in there with some dude. And he was like, yeah, I know how it goes. I'm not stressing that or whatever the case may be. And Nathan tells him, like, I don't even know if I want to be there or I want to go back inside because Issa's ex is there. And he talking mad barbecue and shit. So his friend was like, I don't even know what the hell that means, but he was like, if you want us to go in there and if he needs to catch a fade, I'm down with you, just say the word. So Nathan's like, no, there's no need for that. He was like, you sure if you change your mind, call me back or whatever the case may be. And then Nathan was like, yeah, you always ready to set it off. And he was like, nah, I think I'll just chill, whatever. So Molly and Torian is high as hell. Like I said, he talking about he smell, macaroni balls. He's asking, where the food is at. And so they basically see one of the guys coming out from the back where the kitchen is. And, she's like, let's go to the source. So they see all the different types of, little appetizers all over the table, and they just start grabbing and picking at all different kind of stuff. And then they like, oh yeah, this is the macaroni with the cheese and the ball, and they all going crazy or whatever. I'm like, Lord have mercy. So Condola had told Lawrence, that she got to speak to Issa for a minute. She was like, it was a short time, but it was nice overall. It wasn't no problem, and that she don't like awkward situations and stuff like that. And she was like, I'm glad we did. I hate awkward energy with people. And then he was like, yeah, like, I feel you. And so she said, well, I think it's time for me to go ahead and get him home. I think Eli's tired of the party. And he was like, all right, so let me leave. And she was like, no. She was like, you don't got to leave. You could stay. This is your goodbye to your friends. Stay chill with them, whatever the case may be. And I'm going to take him home. And then he's like, all right, okay, I will. I'm going to say goodbye. And he like help her with the bag and stuff or whatever the case may be. And so, I thought that was okay. Their relationship definitely seems to be in a better place. So, like I said, Molly and Torian is basically tearing these munchies up. They going in crazy with the munchies, In the meantime, when Condola left, Lawrence was just standing there staring at her for a damn minute or whatever. Like, now he rethinking stuff all of a sudden because his friend told him about himself. And on the one hand, that kind of irritated me because I feel like, Lawrence, if you was feeling that way all this time, you could have been calling her. You could have been reaching out to her. Now that, your friend says something, you all of a sudden want to act like you, so interested in you watching her. I just found that to be like a little bit corny, to be honest. Like, I felt like if that's really how you was feeling, then you should have been saying something. But of course, that's not the way they wrote it. And of course, you got to wait till the person is all comfortable and moved on with their life for you to decide that you might want to step in or whatever the case may be, just to give it that extra drama. So, of course, that's what they was doing. And of course, we all knew that it was going to eventually get to that place, one way or another. But honestly, I thought it was more so going to be Issa coming to him than him coming to Issa. And I'm kind of glad that it wasn't Issa that went up to him or whatever the case may be. And so nonetheless, when Torian and Molly realized, like, yo, we literally, are in here tearing up all the damn food. And they see that it's a guy, coming that's about to catch them in there with the food. They hurry up and run into this closet. And then they laughing because they realize, like, yo, we in a damn closet and we just came and tore up half they damn snacks that's supposed to be for their guests for the party. And Molly starts opening up to Torian. And like I said, I love the vibe of Torian and Molly. They really are a perfect fit. And I love that she feels like she can open up to him and talk to him. Like I said, I love the changes in Molly. Like, that is 10s all across the board for me with that whole situation. And when they in the closet, she starts telling him that she has a big fear because all the other guys she dated basically ended up getting tired of her, and that she feels like if it happens with him, then that would be it. You know what I'm saying? It would really hurt her bad. And he was like, well, I'm the opposite because I hated your ass when I first met you. And so that's definitely true. They did not get along. And then the next thing you know, they start kissing each other all crazy, and they basically start going at it in the damn closet. I'm like, okay, Molly, get it in, girl. I mean, things is going good for her, okay? With Torian, and I'm here for it all the way. And so they getting busy in the closet, and Issa's going to throw something in the trash can. And the next thing you know, Lawrence is behind her. It's kind of like that dream she had where he's coming out of nowhere. She like, he like, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. He was like, how's everything going? Are you happy? And she's like, what? He was like, are you really happy? He was like, I have to know because I'm not happy. I'm not happy when I'm not with you. And she's saying to him, like, Lawrence, we can't have this conversation right now. Maybe another time or whatever. He's asking her why she called him. And she's like, well, it was a mistake. He was like, a mistake, like you ain't mean to dial me. Or she was like, no, I didn't mean to dial you at the time, but a mistake, even trying to call you or whatever. And like I said, she's basically telling him, like, come on, what are you saying this to me now for? And she's trying to walk away, and he's actually blocking her from walking. And she's like, okay, I cannot do this right now. And then he was like, I need to do this right now. She's like, what? Like, come on, you coming out of nowhere with this. And he was like, well, if I had fought for you, because of course now his friend done put all this shit in his head. He was like, would that have made a difference? And she basically said, even if you would have fought, no, I doubt that it would have made a difference. At this point, Nathan is there, and he's like, what's going on here? And she's like, oh, nothing. And then Lawrence want to talk about, well, actually we was in a conversation. And she's like, no, we wasn't. And she's like, come on, Nathan, baby, Nathan and him start talking about, no, what you gotta say? I'm here, what, and pushing each other and ready to fight. Everybody trying to break them up. Issa going, Nathan, stop, Nathan, stop. And then he was like, all right, I am stopped. And he was like walking away, and she still tried to reach out for him again. And he was like, just leave me alone, just give me a minute. And he basically walks off. Everybody eyes is on damn Issa at this point. She turning around like, what the hell? What is going on here? Baby. And Molly just looking at her, and she looking at Molly, and she like, what the That's how it went off, y'all. So what do y'all think Issa gonna do? This is it, baby. We only got one episode left. Y'all are trifling for saving this for the end. But it was good. I enjoyed it. I was like, okay. Because you don't usually see Nathan get too hype. And it was like his man that was talking to him was the exact same as Lawrence's man that was talking to him. They both got inside their heads. And Nathan is like, nah, she mine now. Like, I ain't let her go nowhere. And Lawrence is like, listen, I'll give her back. I had her before you. They both was giving big energy. What y'all think? Put it in the comments, okay? Oh, gosh, this is crazy. I don't even know what to think, honestly. But like, share, comment, and subscribe, y'all. Till next time.